Merry Christmas. Good evening. And there I am, I think. Somewhere in the middle out there. Anyways, Merry Christmas. I hope you have had I won't say relaxing. And I'm not going to say stressful. It's Christmas Day. Hopefully by now, though, you have calmed down. You have been able to take a break and you're sitting back enjoying your eggnog, perhaps, gingerbread cookies while you're watching the kids with their new gadgets and toys. And how long they're going to be involved in those, we have no idea, because eventually it'll be about cardboard boxes and Stixes. And yes, I said Stixes. But I chose to do this in the evening. We had service this morning with no Sunday school, just a brief service about Christ and the Christmas story, so that we would be able to go out and have times with our family. So I hope and pray that you've been able to spend time with your family. I know having been there myself, there's a lot of service members out there separated from their family and possibly their friends, wherever they are in the world. There's a number of us that have lost loved ones whom we cannot spend Christmas with, and my heart goes out to you for sure. And I just pray that you would be given peace as we take this time now that everything is hopefully settled down for most of us. And let's bring the focus back where it's supposed to be. There's a whole lot of people out there that will come up with a lot of excuses and reasons to try and put ideas in your head, such as, well, Christmas is a pagan holiday, and everything is all about pagan. And it's true that there are pagan influences on some of the things that are going on. And certainly Christmas has been very commercialized. It's all about buying gifts and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is that it is true, nowhere in the Bible did God ordain Christmas as a holiday. But there's nothing wrong with celebrating the birth of Christ. He certainly had to be born in order for him to die for us, as we will see this coming resurrection time, Easter time in the near future here. But we have to keep the main thing, and that is that Christ came. And don't be distracted when people tell you that everything is pagan, because it's not. And not every person out there celebrating Christmas is a true Christian, which, interestingly enough, this one time out of the year, when people become selfless, when people put others before themselves, that's very much a Christ-like thing. And to buy gifts for people is to consider others before yourself, and to spend money on other people when you normally wouldn't. And, sometimes it's what you need. Sometimes it's you're able to provide what people want. We raised money back at Vacation Bible School to send to our pastor friend, Brother Lucas, over in Kenya. And he was able to buy Bibles to pass out. And he passed those out yesterday, the day before. And some of those men and women that received those Bibles in Kenya had not received a gift all year long. And so I certainly enjoy my gifts, and I love the people that gave them to me, but I love them even without the gifts. But again, putting others before ourselves as Christ did. And so the main thing here is the birth of Christ. Whether you want a tree or don't want a tree, whether you like Christmas lights or not, whether you have inflatable things in your yard, whatever. The whole purpose for this particular holiday, which comes from the term Holy Day, is about Jesus Christ. And the fact that God sent us someone that could reconnect us to him. So I'm going to read here Luke chapter 2, verses 1 through 7. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration when Quirinius was governor of Syria, and all went to be registered, each to his own town. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he is of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. And while they were there, the time came for her to give birth. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. So you have the forced census. You had to go back to your town of origin. And so this is Jesus' claim and lineage, claiming back to the throne of David, which made him king of Israel. And for him to be placed in a manger, which is a feeding trough, it is not a stable, it is not a barn. Is that a possible place? Yes, it is. It's when you call a census, everybody comes to town. You've got to have enough room in your ancestral, whoever the family head is back in that place. Hopefully, they're wealthy enough to have a large enough estate, a house of some sort to house everybody. And saying there's no room in the inn, it wasn't necessarily a Howard Johnson. It wasn't a Motel 6. What quite possibly happened is there wasn't any other rooms in the house. And if you're a wealthy enough person, your house had a room, a lower room that was much like a barn, but it was for special animals. And you would take the animals that were acceptable for sacrifice, and you would separate them from the rest of the herd, from the rest of the flock, and you would place them in this room in your home so that you could watch after them and make sure that they would be undefiled. And so you would have this special room with these other animals. And so for Christ to have been born without them having a proper bedroom set up for a woman about to give birth, all that would be there for her to put her son down, it would be a manger, would be a feeding trough. And so it's very, very appropriate that the Son of God, who came to be sacrificed for our sins, was born in a place where special animals were kept to be sacrificed for the forgiveness of sins. John 1:14 says, "And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory. Glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth." God sent his Son. They named him Jesus. He lived and died to buy my pardon and your pardon. So as we wind things down tonight, as we are getting over the Christmas hangovers, as we get prepared to go back to work in the next day or two, let's carry this spirit of Christ with us year long. It shouldn't just be once a year, for a week or two, maybe if we're lucky, but certainly 24 hours, that we think of other people. And that's what Christ did. Christ came to do the will of the Father, when part of that was to die on the cross for us. So he came to be a servant and to sacrifice himself for you and for me, so that we may again be in fellowship with God the Father. That is the purpose of Christmas. That is the purpose of Christ. And so Maybe you liked your present, maybe you didn't, maybe it fits, maybe it doesn't. Tomorrow is set to be the largest, busiest day throughout the stores as everyone goes to return what they either didn't like or didn't fit. But let's just continue on with the thinking of others and putting others ahead of ourselves. And let's be polite and let's be friendly and let's look for those who are in need. So that's why I wanted to do this kind of after everything had settled down today. And I hope and pray that you have had a blessed Christmas. I hope and pray that you will have a blessed year coming up. Um, yeah, next Sunday school lesson will be regular time, be January 1st, the beginning of the new year. So I hope you are prepared for that. And I look forward to seeing you. So God bless and Merry Christmas.